This is news for the poor. I have more information for everybody. This article I printed out from Congressman Khanna, so the congressman of the 17th district in California, or San Francisco. I printed this out from his official federal congressional website. What is the new economic patriotism? Hint, it's about the production. It's by Robert Hockett, and it was published June 5th, 2023. It was also published in Forbes. I have his brief resume right here. He's an American lawyer and law professor and policy advocate. Cornell professor of law and public affairs. Senior counsel at Westwood Capital, LLC. Fellow at Century Foundation think tank. Advised AOC on the new Green Deal. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Masters in Philosophy and Economics from Oxford. He also went to Yale, and he's an adjunct professor at Georgetown. His upcoming book is entitled A Republic of Owners. Now I'm going to read this article. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to try not to, okay? I'm just going to read it.
It has taken a long while and a great deal of adversity. But Americans of many political persuasions, Democrat and Republican, progressive and conservative, partisan and independent, are at last rediscovering something we'd come close to forgetting.
So he's saying that all of us Americans, as one entity, we've forgotten something. And he's going to tell us what it is.
I refer to the existential importance of our nation's productive capabilities. In a world of transnational peril, as the indispensable basis of our national security, our social stability, and hence our persistence as a polity alike, and as a base that's been steadily undermined by decades of misguided free trade and financialization, our role as a workshop of the world is a role we should never have relinquished and must now restore. And we must do so as quickly as possible.
So let's back up. Now we know that he's told us all that we have all forgotten something that is
the most important existential peril
in this transnational world we live in, and that is our national productive capabilities. So the means of production. And these things, these misguided things called free trade and financialization, they're misguided. And they've been so for decades. And we need to rework this system or policy as quickly as possible. So let's check this out here. He used two words that are completely abstract to most people today. Polity, which is just a fancy word for state. So the state. So he's grouped us all of us Americans, he's grouped all of us into one state. And we have been misguided for decades by these pesky things called free trade and financialization, or a fancy word for private ownership of things. So private ownership, that's misguided, and us Americans being allowed to barter freely, without Big Brother looking over our shoulder at all times, that's misguided. We're up to date now? So we are all a polity that has been misguided by owning things privately for decades. And we have forgotten about this fundamental existential importance. Did you forget that? I know I did. I forgot that completely. Wow. Tell me more, thought leader.
2 American statespersons have stood out far more than most others in designing and articulating what I'll call the new operating system of this recovery, the OS of a new economic patriotism. They are Democratic Representative Khanna of Silicon Valley and Senator Marco Rubio of Florida.
So the new Secretary of State. That's good to know. Wouldn't you agree? It gets better.
Although I have done work for both legislators, see IG here, here, and here.
And you'll see on the official website that those hyperlinks are now gone. So I'm assuming maybe some people have been reluctant to associate themselves currently with what this all is. And you can decide for yourself. I think it's pretty clear I can't keep my opinions to myself. In my translation of this terrible Orwellian doublespeak that is meant to confuse you and gaslight you as Americans. He starts, second sentence says,
We've forgotten it.
You have forgotten what the real important thing is. You forgot. You forgot how to breathe. You forgot how to eat, I guess. Because this is the most existential. This is of the most existential importance. Now, I'm just going to say this up front, Mr. Robert Hockett, if that's your real name. I'm going to need some clarification on this. We're going to get to some topics that we're going to need clarified. I think you'll find that throughout this entire article, nowhere does he actually describe what any of this means. And that's what I'm going to translate for everybody, and I don't care how long it takes. These Marxists need to shut up. They're the ones that need the re-education.
Nevertheless, I believe much I shall say here will be approved by both statesmen. Statespersons.
Sorry, he has to say statespersons, even though they're 2 men.
So what is this NEP? What does this vision entail?
Well, you'll see that he no way describes any of what it means.
The first thing...
Well, this is the most important thing you need to take away from what new economic patriotism is.
The first thing to note is the choice of that word patriotism, which Representative Khanna takes great care to distinguish from nationalism.
So nationalism. So fascism. So communism.
The latter term nowadays carries, regrettably...
Hold on.
The latter term nowadays carries regrettably negative?
So he wants to call it nationalism. So he just admitted indirectly that in no way, shape, or form does this new economic patriotism resemble anything other than fascism. Well, I don't think we have to read any more then, do we?
The latter term nowadays carries regrettably negative, or at any rate, zero-sum connotations.
Zero sum. It carries, so it means zero sum. So you're either in or you're dead. And if you're in, then you will get dead, because the swastika that Hitler chose for the Nazi flag is inverse from the original swastika iconography, which means life. So, reversed means death. Hitler's flag was a mockery of life. And he just said
that it now regrettably carries a negative connotation, or a zero-sum.
So how is it not zero-sum, Mr. Hockett? How is economic patriotism not zero-sum? I'm going to need that clarified. So I hope you're taking notes. Did you get it posted out?
It suggests that attending to our own productive development might entail disfavor of other nations' productive development.
So, it suggests that attending to our own productive development might entail disfavor of other nations' productive development. You mean like we're doing now in Ukraine?
That all is a dog-eat-dog war among nations for market share.
But in Nazi fascism, we don't have to worry about market share. In fascism, we don't have to worry about market share. See?
That in turn further suggests suspicion of immigrants.
So he doesn't want to just make all of us Americans one state. He wants to include all immigrants too. So this is a world plan. I think we all knew that. This is a globalist plan.
Which nearly all Americans either are or are descended from.
Okay, okay, so he just explained away the whole immigration problem. Good deal. Okay, he solved that. He just solved it. So, I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Robert, Professor. Should we call you doctor? A doctor of policy? So you've just, okay, doctor of policy, you policy doctor. Yeah, that's what you are, aren't you? You're a policy doctor. You just solved the border crisis and all immigration crises by simply stating
all Americans either are or they're descended from immigrants.
So, we're done with that. It doesn't really matter anyway, does it? Because that whole financialization thing was misguided anyway. So really, in your plan, you call us Americans, but that was really just a ruse, because down here you mentioned immigrants, and we're all just immigrants at the end of the day, right? So this includes everybody. So nobody... let's invoke Klaus Schwab. This is probably your idol. You'll own nothing, and you'll like it. Because, remember, you forgot what things were like before. This is the way it was. This is what they're doing on the internet right now as we speak. Whitewashing all the history.
Such tendencies are, of course, not what Representative Khanna seeks or endorses.
Oh, okay. You started out by saying that Khanna supports this idea, and then you just said that he doesn't. Oh no, tendencies. Nice word choice there, tendencies. Because that's what we have to rely on as poor people when we give up complete control of everything. We have to rely on the dictatorship's tendencies, whether they're murderous or not. Good to know. This is good to know. You need me, actually. Mr. Robert, you really need to contact me You can do so anytime. I'd really like to have a chat with you. You need me as a translator or interpreter for the American cogs of this one new, I hate this word, polity. You need me as a representative. Can I be a part of the new world order? Please, I missed my other opportunity. Can I?
That's quite the contrary. Rather, the NEP vision is of a world in which all nations...
Thank you for contradicting yourself there, because immigrants don't matter. So what's a nation? What is this? How many degrees do you have? You wrote this confusing as shit on purpose. What is this nonsense? Why would you even waste time on it? You think this is important? To tell us how you're going to manage us all by taking ownership of everything away from us and spying on us all 24/7 so we don't accidentally barter anything without your awareness? How are you going to do this without the computers? See, without this technocracy, you have no control. Okay.
Rather, the NEP vision is of a world in which all nations,
I guess.
or groupings of nations,
Again with this nation stuff again, where you just dismantled all of immigration problems in one sentence. You're such a genius. Do you even know how contradictory all this shit is, or are you that out of it? Is your mind that rotted by Plutonian philosophy that you think this is productive? Micromanagement is productive? Have you done any work, policymaker, in any other area besides looking at charts and graphs and reading Karl Marx? Or Hegel? I'm assuming you haven't.
we seek a world, in other words, in which all large groupings of people, be these single nations or collaborative groupings of smaller nations, enjoy rich agricultural, manufacturing, commercial, and financial capacities, literally all of the above!
All of the above! Everybody gets it all! Woo! If you just give up ownership of everything and allow us to view and spy on you 24/7, everybody gets everything in the new utopia as long as you give up all your autonomy. I just can't, I'm cannot believe I'm reading this. This is on a federal government website. This is the plan. Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. Sorry I didn't start doing this sooner. I don't know how you stop this. I'm just reading it. I'm just telling you what it means. And what it means is bad. It's bad. Go flood this guy's email. Flood these people's emails. Call them. This article is based on gaslighting an Orwellian way to make nationalism sound great. It's a utopia. Hey, that's communism. This is communism. And they're going to use this fucking war to bring this thing home.